Am I the a-hole for wanting my son to give me back the family business he can't take over? I 74M have a son who is 47M who got arrested for a DUI over 15 years ago, and he is unable to find a regular job. He has ADHD, is married, and has 2 daughters. I hired him in my small business, which is an office setting many years ago, to give him a job for his family. I have trained him, given him ample opportunity to be successful, and allowed him to hire multiple members of his wife's family and friends. I am still keeping the business afloat for him financially, and his wife works a well-paying full-time job. They bought almost $1 million house this year and spend money rapidly, like putting their kids in multiple travel sports which cost several thousand a year. I am not one to tell them how to spend their money, but I'm providing context for the story. My son and I had an agreement that I would receive a percentage on any new clients we find, which I have found myself. I've had my business for over 50 years. I enjoy working, but being 74, I get tired and stressed easily, but it keeps my mind occupied. My wife and I recently purchased a small home, and my son came over to help me move a fridge. He started yelling and swearing at me this past week and told me I was spending too much from the business with my wife and our new home. I hired some contractors to paint and put in new floors. He told me he was only giving me $9,000 of a $36,000 payment I am owed. My wife and I are on a fixed income. I told him to get out, and he had a big outburst swearing, carrying on, and stressing me out. He doesn't even do his job, and I am always doing the brunt of the work. I have decided to take my business back and all my clients and work on my own. He can figure the rest out himself. I'm tired of his lack of commitment. His wife and he have also alienated my other children and family due to their awful drama and bullying tactics. They didn't attend a family event over the weekend we had, and honestly, it was the most fun I've had in a long time. My younger son and daughter both refuse to be around this son and wife due to how awful they have treated them. My daughter hasn't attended a holiday in 2 years because of this son and his wife, and she finally came this past weekend and we had a great time. Am I the a-hole to cut my son out of my business? Next story. Am I the a-hole for favoring my nephews over my GF sisters who live with us? I, 31M, inherited my parents' house and became the guardian of my 2 nephews, 16M and 12M, about 7 years ago. Before he died, my dad was in the middle of renovating the basement, so each nephew to have a large bedroom with their own bathroom. To honor my dad, I finished the renovation, and each of my nephews had their own room and bathroom with the specs my dad had made. He was an architect. About this time, I graduated from law school. I was having a tough time finding a job, so I decided to start my own firm. It has worked out very well for me financially, so I get to spoil my nephews a fair bit. But they are good kids, respectful, courteous, and great students. 3 years ago, I met a woman. Her family is a train wreck. She has no relationship with her extended family because they were involved in this extremely conservative religious church/cult. Her parents escaped, but are not equipped for parenting. They had 5 daughters, my GF, 26F, and her sisters, 16F, 14F, 10F, 8F. My GF and I talked about moving in together and did so 2 years ago. A little over a year ago, she approached me about moving in with her sisters. Her parents are still the legal parents of the sisters, but they cannot hold down jobs, etc. My nephews and I discussed about the sisters moving in. They agreed, but only if they get their rooms and bathrooms. I said, absolutely, and told my GF. This meant the 4 sisters would share 2 small bedrooms and a small bathroom. The living arrangement has been rough. The girls are on top of each other and constantly bickering. My GF has asked if we could have 2 of her sisters share one of the basement bathrooms. I said no, my GF makes less than 1/10 of what I do. My GF and I split groceries and utilities, but I pay for all the other shared expenses. Other than paying for standard living expenses, I do not pay for many things for the girls. My perspective is that is for their parents and or my GF to do. I do buy things for my nephews like concert tickets, video game systems, movie tickets, etc. This came to a head recently because my oldest nephew and GF's oldest sister have birthdays only about a month apart. For GF's sister's 16th birthday, I bought her some makeup and a nice purse. It was about $100 total. My nephew wanted to take his girlfriend to a Taylor Swift concert. I got him 2 concert tickets to go in about a month. I also bought him a car. My GF sister felt some type of way. She is a Swiftie and hates my nephew's girlfriend. They go to the same school. After his birthday, my GF called me an a-hole. She said she was tired of me favoring my nephews, and it needs to change. I told her that my nephews are my responsibility, but her sisters are not. I bought her sister a nice gift, but I am not going to treat them like my nephews. The friend group is divided, so trying to get perspective here. Am I the a-hole? Next story. Am I the a-hole for not splitting my college fund with my dad's affair child? My father dropped a big bomb on our family last year when he revealed that he had a secret son from his affair years ago. After my mom found out and gave him the ultimatum, he cut things off with the mistress and she moved away until last year when she introduced him to their son Hank. I really don't give a damn about his latent father instinct since he didn't give his other family any consideration when he broke the news. Thank God my mom divorced him, and now neither my brother Connor, M18, sister Sophia, F15, nor I want anything to do with him anymore. Here's the thing though. We have a shared college fund that my mom's parents set up for us when we were little. My parents contribute almost half of the money and my maternal grandparents contribute the other half. The account remains under my mom after the divorce. As far as I know, he stopped contributing to that account after the divorce. Last month, I found out that my dad's been harassing my mom because he wanted to add Hank as a beneficiary to the college fund for my siblings. He's saying that Hank is his son and therefore entitled to the college fund that he set up for me, Connor, and Sophia. My mom told him off and now he has been going around harassing her online and to their mutual acquaintances and friends, claiming that she is heartless and cruel for taking her anger out on an innocent child. And then, he also had the genius idea to reach out to me to put pressure on my mom. He said I should consider opening up my heart to Hank, who grew up without a father and wasn't set up in life like my siblings and me. I left him on read since, honestly, the things I wanted to say to that callous evil monster may be too much. Yesterday he changed tactics and now said he wanted to withdraw all his part of the money from the account, divided them to make sure Hank has his share, and deposited the rest back into the account. With the caveat that since Connor and I didn't need to use the college fund for tuition since we both had full-ride scholarships, the money would be divided into 2 parts, for Hank and Sophia, instead of into 4 parts for his 4 children. And now he, some of my dad's side of the family, and even the mistress are pressuring my mom to agree to that. And I'm praying that she won't. It physically makes me angry that we're being asked to split our money with my dad's affair child. Even if yes, I don't need to use the money to pay for school, I will need it in the future. Same with Connor. And I know for a fact he would never use the same reasoning to exclude Connor and me from the fund, just to have the money solely for Sophia in the same situation. It's all for Hank. I understand that Hank is innocent and not responsible for his parents' actions, but I don't think of him as my brother. Hell, I don't even think of my father as my father anymore, to be honest. As far as I'm concerned, my family consists of me, my siblings, and my mom. That's it. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I'm 23, Hank is 14. Update. Thank you so much everyone for the support and advice. I really appreciate it. I talked to my mom this morning about getting the lawyer involved and also about a potential restraining order. She has been talking to the lawyer about Dad's demands, and it looks like he really doesn't have any rights to it. I think some of you are correct that he is doing all this because he knows he won't win in court. As for a restraining order, Mom is hesitant to do it right now since Dad has visitation rights with Sophia and she doesn't want to make it too complicated for my sister. But she promised me that if things get worse she will get one. My brother Connor and I also talked, and we will be taking turns coming home for the weekend so Mom and Sophia won't be alone just in case anything happens. Some clarifications. We haven't involved Mom's parents since their health isn't the best right now. Grandpa was really shocked when he heard about the cheating plus secret son of Dad that he had a heart attack. Thank God he mostly recovers now. However, none of us want to put stress on him. According to Dad, he never knew about Hank's existence until last year when his mistress came back. Nobody in our family knew really until Dad brought Hank to a family event to break the news to us. He blindsided and humiliated my mom, and it was the final straw for her. They divorced after that. I honestly don't hate Hank. It's just that right now I can't imagine spending time with him. He's a minor still, so everything will have to involve either our father or his mother. And that is a no for me right now. Perhaps in the future, things will be different. Who knows? Hopefully, things get resolved soon. Thank you everyone again for the amazing advice and words of support. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my father-in-law a giant man baby? My sister has been married twice. With her ex-husband, she has a 10-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. She is currently expecting a baby, 6-ish months along, with her current/second husband. The second husband is the father-in-law mentioned in the post. My sister and her ex-husband's marriage ended during her second pregnancy in reality. They were together for several more months in an effort to make it work, but they were never really in love. I believe this is somewhat relevant later, and I don't think they ever really liked each other, but both loved the children they shared. The marriage ended, and my sister started dating soon after. She met her father-in-law a year after her divorce was finalized. At this point, the kids were 3.5 and 1.5. Problems began when my sister and father-in-law moved in together after 6 months of dating. Father-in-law did not like seeing the kids' dad around. The kids' dad would pick them up for his custody time and would show up to preschool plays and meetings. Then father-in-law got annoyed one day when he found out my parents had run into the kids' dad and spoken to him at random. He said nothing for ages after my parents mentioned it. Months and maybe even more than a year later when I think back on it. He brought it up and told us all how offended he was that we were still friendly with the kids' dad, and he said this in front of the kids. When my sister and father-in-law got married, he became visibly frustrated when the kids wanted to invite their dad. He wasn't invited, but he was annoyed that a 4- and 6-year-old wanted their dad there. Father-in-law has this one-sided and self-inflicted competition going on with the kids' dad for the role of their dad. He has tried encouraging the kids to call him dad and has asked my sister to go to court and get Father's Day split/shared or alternated in some way so he can have them too. I believe my sister allows this because her father-in-law is the first man she has been in love with, and she's letting it blind her. Father-in-law complains frequently that the kids treat him like a stranger or like a teacher they have to respect but don't like. Yesterday was my other sister's birthday, and we were at her house. My sister's kids were telling me about their dad and what was going on with him when my father-in-law demanded to speak with me and tore me a new one for disrespecting him with talk of the competition. He told me he is my sister's husband and the kid's real dad and I should stop the disrespect. I told him to quit being such a man's baby and accept that he has stepkids and they have a loving father and that others are allowed to be on good terms with their father. He called me some names and said I owed him a lot more respect than I was showing him by saying that to his face. Am I the a-hole?